ball with. Drake! Move 58! Go!
Boom. All right. Welcome to episode 17 of the Health Matters podcast with the Predictors, baby. Recorded on January 7th, 2025. I'm your host, Jay Rock, and after a long holiday break, the boys are back in town. Orthopedic expert Dr. Preventure, the Patriots head surgeon who's seen it all and has the rings to prove it. The one and only GOAT, Zajac, all the way from California, is here, baby, and our prediction whiz, Nate Dogg, on the ones and twos. We're heading right into Super Wild Card Week, and the NFL playoff energy is buzzing, palpable, ladies and gentlemen. We all know what every play, every down, and every drive is about in this league. It's all about winning the Super Bowl, baby. The intensity is through the roof with teams fighting for their playoff lives. Join us as we break down the big takeaways from the past couple of weeks, and we look ahead towards the playoff season. So let's kick things off with the Rod Zone. Welcome to the Rod Zone, ladies and gentlemen. You already know what's going on. It is playoffs time. They are upon us. It is the witching hour of the entire season. Who will raise the Lombardi Trophy as world champions, and who will be looking for vengeance next season? The runner-up 49ers are nowhere to be seen, but there are plenty of new faces on the bracket this year. The Commanders, Broncos, and Chargers have a chance at the championship, while more familiar to playoff franchises like the Ravens, Eagles, and Chiefs are looking to secure another title. Tyreek Hill may be looking to leave the Dolphins as they did not make it into playoffs, which could set him up for a Saquon Barkley-esque season next season if he goes off. And with that being said, we also have Ezekiel Elliott leaving from the Cowboys and joining up with the Chargers. Does he have the time to break into the offense and become a playoff weapon again? We'll have to see about that, but he's looking to make some big moves. The Chiefs' backups got toppled by the Broncos the other day, losing 0 points on the board, and dashed the Bengals' chances of getting into the playoffs. Hate that for Joe Burrows, but I know he's looking to come back and have a great season next year, as he did this year. Gerard Mayo has been fired as the Patriots head coach, and by beating the Bills in the last game, they actually ended up forfeiting their number one pick next season during the draft. Very unfortunate, but that's not, an uncommon thing right now in the NFL. The Jags have fired their head coach, Doug Peterson, as well. And just looking around the league, the Raiders, Bears, Jets, and the Saints are all looking for a new head coach. And all this head coach talk has me thinking, was that the last time we're going to see Aaron Rodgers against the Dolphins the other day? Who knows? He might go on a little spiritual journey on the off season and find himself back in the gridiron. And let's head over to Bryce Young. He had one of the biggest bounce back stories of the entire season. Why put fries in the bag when you can get in the bag yourself? He got benched early, comes back stronger after Andy Dalton's injury, and now with his stellar performance against the Falcons, the Panthers owner David Tepper says, I think we got our QB here. Now let's get right into the injuries that are going to be affecting the playoffs the most. Go! Number of big injuries coming off the regular season, but only a couple of them are really going to impact playoff teams. Everyone else can worry about it in the offseason. Going straight into the Green Bay locker room, we got Christian Watson coming into Week 18. He was already dealing with a knee injury, and then the worst had to happen to him. Tyler, what happened to Christian Watson out there this past weekend?
Yeah, J-Rock, Christian Watson went down with a torn ACL, a brutal hit for the Green Bay Packers as they enter the playoffs here, and tough for Christian Watson. We know he's dealt with injuries in the past, especially hamstring injuries. This offseason, we talked about it before, he had some symmetry work done at Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin. They looked at his symmetry. He came back, was not supposed to have any hamstring stuff this year. He didn't. He did have an ankle injury earlier in the season, and like you said, went into this game with a knee injury, but now suffered the ACL. Doc, hamstrings in his career, now an ACL. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's not 100% correlation, Tyler, but there's a correlation. Hamstring, ACL, ACL, hamstring, usually hamstring to ACL. Not too common, but there's an association, and it's really great that he got through the hamstrings. I love what they're doing at the University of Wisconsin. Really a scientific-based approach to helping these players prevent this hamstring injury from happening in the first place. Because when we see it happen first, other things happen. ACL, ankle, lower extremity, hip. That's all been proven. Check it out at the Predictors.
You know what? The body is a chain of mechanics, and one bad thing can lead to two other bad things. Looking at Zay Flowers, Baltimore wide receiver. He's been absolutely electric for the boys, that's for sure. He did go down with a knee-to-knee collision in the Browns game last week. Some are calling it a knee sprain, but the head coach, John Harbaugh, is not quite confirming it, and he's keeping that close to his chest. I know he wants his boy out there. He is considered day-to-day right now, but there is a probability for him to play against the Steelers as of right now, and I know that they're going to be looking to have him out there to get some receptions in for the boys. Nate, let's take it over to L.A. We got Blake Corum. What's going on with Blake?
Yeah, J-Rock, he suffered a broken forearm, which is not something we see a whole lot in the NFL. So it looks like Ronnie Rivers is going to be Kyron Williams' backup heading into the playoffs. Doc, broken forearm, we really don't see this injury a whole lot. What is this recovery going to look like for Blake?
Yeah, a broken forearm is generally surgery, plate and screws. And you look at Alex Anzalone from Detroit, look at his tweet this weekend. He actually showed his arm with the sutures in it after surgery, and he came back 6-ish weeks or so after and played successfully in that number one determining matchup with Minnesota. So definitely something you fix with plate and screws. It's just a matter of enough healing. Plate and screws, super strong, but it just takes time to heal. You got to get the bone to heal. You can't rush biology.
Can't rush it, better not rush it. That's when we need good PTs, making sure that every single recovery is taking the time that it needs and not a second more or less. Looking over at the Philadelphia Eagles, they're having some quarterback issues. Jalen Hurts did go down with a big hit, ended up getting a concussion not too long ago. He was held out for Week 18 last week, and though he is still in concussion protocol, he should be ready for the wild card games this weekend, and I know that the Eagles are dying to have him out there. Doc, give us a little bit on Jalen.
Yeah, no, Jalen, it's super smart for the team. Rest Week 18. If you look at our data from the Predictors, quarterbacks actually come back better, more productive, anywhere from 4 to 8% above their baseline after rest with concussion. And we see that when they're out 2 weeks. So basically, this will be Jalen's time to shine.
Let's get Jalen back in there and shining, flying high. Nate, looking over at Green Bay again, we got Jair Alexander, possible PCL sprain. Give the people a little information on that, and should they be worried about that?
Yeah, they should definitely be worried about this. This is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, arguably. So now he's going to be placed on IR, and the only way he could return is if the Packers make the Super Bowl. Doc, he's never had a major knee injury up until this point. Would you expect this to be a minor setback, or what would you think?
Yeah, I think this is probably a minor setback, but this has been more minor than Green Bay wanted for sure. They wanted him back for the playoffs. PCLs are very tricky because there are isolated PCLs, which is the posterior cruciate ligament. It's just the ligament in the back of the knee, but it's a very big ligament and helps prevent the tibia from moving backwards. So it's important for someone like him that's pivoting, cutting, stopping. They have to stop their whole body's acceleration through this posterior cruciate ligament. There's a variety of grades, grade 1, 2, 3. We're probably thinking this is a grade 1, grade 2 type of PCL, which is not all the way, it's not all the way loose, but there's also associated injuries such as stuff going on with the cartilage or the knee joint underneath the kneecap. You could also get meniscus issues down the road, especially in the inner compartment of the knee, the medial compartment. So there's a whole host of associated injuries that can go on with this PCL, but I think we'll see him back next year in good form.
We'll see him back next year, and if Green Bay does what they want to do, we might just see him this year again in the Super Bowl. Looking over to Jordan Love, it's not his first time on the list today. Well, this season, my apologies. Tyler, what's going on with Jordan Love now?
Yeah, J-Rock. So he had some right elbow issues in the game. The team came out, head coach Matt LaFleur said, it was just taken out from a precaution. He could have played if he needed to play, but they didn't need him to play. They knew they were already in the playoffs. So they figured, hey, we'll rest our QB and let him get ready. After the game, Love did say that he lost some feeling in his throwing hands. So Doc, is this nerve related? What are you thinking when you hear, hey, I lost some feeling, but he could have gone in if he needed to?
Yeah, guys, this is a nerve-ish injury, nerve irritation, compression irritation. So when you're looking at the elbow, what we're thinking of is what's called the funny bone nerve, your ulnar nerve, and it has some innervation for the muscles around the hand, but more importantly, also has this sensory thing that he's probably feeling in nerve irritation. Sometimes when you sleep and you're curled up like this, you can actually kink the nerve and you get this numbness in the fourth and fifth fingers, your ring finger, your small finger, and that can give you a little bit of the tingling. Maybe he's feeling that. But if the nerve irritation is too bad, Tyler, and this is the key, what ends up happening is that ulnar nerve is super important for the intrinsic strength of the hand. The intrinsic strength are all these small muscles of the hand. And guess what you got to do with that? Grip the football. So if it's really bad and more than just sensory irritation, it can get motor irritation, and you get weakness in the ball. I don't think he's there yet, but it's something we have to watch really closely.
That's going to be another example of that one thing leading to another, that whole chain of the human body working together. Hopefully everything's okay for him. Hopefully he's not too nervous about it. All right, Nate, looking over at the Lions, what's going on with David Montgomery?
Yeah, J-Rock, Dan Campbell gave some good and bad news. It looks like David Montgomery will return from his MCL injury that he sustained in Week 15. And Terrion Arnold also went down with a foot injury against the Vikings, along with Kevin Zeitler, their right guard. So, this team has been getting injured a lot, but this is going to be a huge first-round bye. So Lions fans should be happy that they won that game.
Huge first-round bye.
Yep.
They need it. Their bus score will go up a little bit. I don't think it's going to go up too much, given that they just lost two another very good players, and we're going to have to watch that. But that, the bus stop is going to be key for the Lions moving forward. We'll have more information next week. Check it out at the Predictors.
Check us out, baby. And with that, let's just head right over to the bus stop and find out who's busted up. Go! So looking at the bus stop, Tyler, is there anything that's standing out for you right now? Any anomalies, anything that you really just want to mention to the people?
Well, I think it's important to remind everyone that the wild card weekend is just that, man. It is wild. It's the one week we see where there are upsets that happen because you see healthy teams play unhealthy teams. However, the talent can be so much different. So make sure you keep an eye on that this week. However, looking at it, I do think that the Philadelphia Eagles will rise from where they are right now at about 8th out of those 12 teams that are playing this weekend once Jalen Hurts comes off that list officially. So look for them to move up. Detroit and KC both have bye weeks this week, which, as Doc just said, is massively important for Detroit because they have a ton of injuries. They keep winning somehow, but that's going to be huge. If they get some guys back, look out. And then despite the Broncos' super high bus, they're playing the Bills, who are also very healthy. So that's a game where they may be number one, but those bus scores are very close. And I think the Bills will edge them out in talent overall. But, hey, you never know. Anything can happen on a random day. So we'll see.
Yeah, Tyler, don't you think? You look at the Rams, Texans, Chargers. They're sort of limping into the playoffs as it is, and they're the bottom three on the bus scores. And what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. Now, I do think that the Rams have a little bit of a favorable matchup. I know people will disagree with me, but when the Rams are on, they are on. However, they have been inconsistent. We have seen, Doc, and you know this very well, when teams start coming back over time and get healthier towards the end of the season, it tends to help them a lot. And the Rams have done that. They were injured early, so they're starting to come back from that. So they play as a cohesive unit. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. The Texans, the Chargers, and the Rams even have a very uphill battle they're going to have to face this weekend.
There it is, baby. And with that being said, trust the bus. Health matters more than you could possibly even know. And thanks for hanging out with us this week on the Health Matters Predictors podcast. We've covered the important takeaways from the past couple of weeks, especially in what matters most for the playoffs as we go into week 19, aka the super wild card weekend, baby. The Broncos are in the playoffs for the first time since 2015. The Chiefs are looking to secure their third Super Bowl in a row, and it's a big bye week for the Detroit Lions with all the injuries that they've had this season. Be sure to join us next week for more expert insights, bold predictions, and all-around elite vibes. Until then, stay locked in, and may all your parlays hit harder than you could ever even imagine. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Predictors _ and check out our website, thepredictors.com, for everything NFL. Every week is a new chance to level up, so trust the bus, and we'll catch you next time.
Go!